What is going on, New York Giants fans? It's Hit Squad again. We are back at it with another live show. Probably going to keep this one short. I want to say the max we'll do is about an hour. Yesterday we were at 2.5 hours, which honestly I loved it. I loved every minute of it. We had great content creators coming on the show, all members, pretty much of the Big Blue crew, and it was a great time, man. So I appreciate everyone that came through yesterday. It was a hell of a stream, man. Hopefully we could do it with this one. Um, and honestly, man, we're gonna talk about a couple things, right? Hey, what's going on, Jaden? What's going on, man? So we're gonna talk about a couple things, right? We're going to talk about some of the players that the New York Giants added to the COVID-19 list, which that seems to be really running rampant through the league right now. Not just with the New York Giants, but with a bunch of teams. I mean, you look at the Cleveland Browns, man. I mean, they're really going through it. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about an article that was written by NBC Sports, and it's talking about Saquon Barkley wanting to be a big reason why the New York Giants turned things around. Now, a lot of Giants fans have been talking about, Saquon Barkley and, having his future up in the air. We're not too sure what's going to happen with him. So we're going to talk about that. Also, what we're going to talk about, some Giants fans, Jaden, his name is Jaden Alvis, actually asked me to give my thoughts on the Kevin Zeitler situation. Looking back at it almost a year from now, from a year when that took place, and also my thoughts on the cap situation. So we got quite a bit to break down. We're also going to have some other Giants content creators slide through. I'm going to leave the link in the chat so that you guys can come in. So if you guys want to talk, by all means, the link will be there. So let's get started, right? So we're going to talk about some of the players that were placed on the COVID-19 list. Most notably, we have John Ross. We also have O'Shane Ximines, and we also have Kadarius Toney. So this is so far. Now, obviously, we had Jerry Shaplinski, who wasn't able to make it on the flight back home from Arizona last week, due to the COVID-19 protocols. I believe he is back in New Jersey after going on the flight yesterday from New Jersey, to New Jersey. So those are definitely, especially when you look at John Ross. I mean, that's a key player to this team. Offensively, we've been getting him more involved. It kind of seems that he's taken Darius Slayton's position almost, which I said this on, I believe it was Joel's stream. Either it was yesterday or the day before. I could be wrong, but I had stated I thought that John Ross had given us a pretty good reason to possibly re-sign him. I mean, I think that in bigger moments, John Ross has come clutch for us. You look at the Saints game, you look at the Chiefs game. I mean, if it's a deep ball being thrown, most of the time it's going to John Ross, man. I mean, and my biggest concern was his injury history going into this season, but he stayed fairly healthy. Knock on wood, he stayed fairly healthy. Um, but those are definitely some players that I mean, we haven't really expected too much with Tony. He hasn't really seen the field. O'Shane don't really care for too much at this point. I think we can all say that he's a goner for next season. But with like I said, with COVID running rampant in the league, I would not be shocked if more players later today, going into tomorrow, are placed on the COVID-19 reserve list. So before I get into the next topic, we're going to bring in Jay Productions. What's going on, man? Welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming through, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Even though, listen, but I'm still the champ, though.
Oh, that's
Just it,
facts. That's facts. I mean, they don't call you Jaden the champ for no reason, but I'm digging the new name. I
yeah.
like it. That's clean. I
Over
really like
here,
it. Hey, what's going on, Taj? What's going on? We're
no
gonna go
man.
into the next topic that was actually announced by Jeremy Fowler today of ESPN, and he states, though Giants quarterback Mike Lennon is expected to start Sunday versus the Cowboys with Daniel Jones still being out, recently acquired quarterback Jake Fromm could see some action in the game, per source. Now, he states that it is something that the team is considering. So For all you fans out there, because there was quite a few of you guys, not you personally, Jay, or anybody in the comments, but there was quite a few, especially on Giants Twitter, that wanted to see Jake Fromm in action, believing that he would give us a better chance to win these games opposed to Mike Lennon. I understood that argument because I think we already know uh, what we have with Mike Lennon. Obviously, he is hot garbage. He is playing like he is concussed. I wouldn't be shocked if he is. I know that he had that concussion scare and he cleared protocols, but he's missing guys wide open. He's underthrowing guys. He's overthrowing guys. It's a clear drop off between him and Daniel Jones. Now, Jake Fromm is a giant unknown. We don't know what we're getting with Jake Fromm. The league, I mean, obviously, he fell for the reasons that he fell, and I mean, he was a backup to Davis Webb. I mean, there's a reason for it. That just doesn't happen by accident. So if he were to get some action, I'm not expecting him to really go out there and put on a dominant performance. I'm not expecting him, to come out there and be a starter for us. Could he be a player that maybe if we keep him for the next season, could he be a player that could help light a fire under Daniel Jones? I think that's possible. I think that you would have a better option with maybe a Mariota or a Tyrod Taylor to provide that ignition under Daniel Jones. But if Jake Fromm could go out there and look fairly decent, I'm not expecting us to win against the Dallas Cowboys, although I would love to see it. Could Jake Fromm go out there and play decent and make a little name for himself in the NFL in his first start? It's definitely possible. But I want to get to this comment real quick by Blue City Empire Sports. He says Saquon Barkley said that he trusts Joe Judge, and 26 also said that he wants to retire as a running back for the New York Giants. Hey man, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, and Jaden, I want to get your opinions on this as well. But I love Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, outside of Jabril Peppers, is my favorite player on the New York Giants current roster. I think that Saquon Barkley is very special. I know that, a lot of us wanted to see him, like the old Saquon coming off of this injury, or at least play better than what he's playing. But I think that we have to understand that one, yes, he's coming off this injury. Usually with that kind of an injury, usually in your second year is when you're getting your legs under him. But I think that we're starting to see, and you saw it in this game against the Chargers, that Saquon is getting his legs under him. And I think that he is an important piece to this offense. Even though he's kind of hobbled, teams still have to identify where he is on the field because if not, he's burning. We've seen it time and time again. Um, and honestly, man, I mean, I think that the Giants want to make him a staple to this franchise. I think right now, what the Giants is really lacking as an organization is a face of the organization, outside of the obvious, right, from what we're lacking. But the Giants, for the longest, you had Eli as the face of the organization. Um, Daniel Jones, I think we can all agree, is not the face of the organization. I thought, me personally, that was Saquon for about 2 years, especially coming off of his rookie season. I mean, he was playing at a very high level for a rookie. And I mean, there's a lot of promise with the kid, and unfortunately, he's been riddled by injuries. I personally would want him to retire as a running back for the New York Giants, but in today's age, especially with how replaceable running backs are, I mean, it's a shot in the dark. I mean, there's a lot of people that want Saquon gone, and understandably so. I mean, I get it as well. As much as I believe that he should stay and will stay, I understand the argument for why Giants fans want to see him go. From a cap perspective, to he's a very talented back and he deserves to be on a winning team. Um, but Jaden, what are your thoughts on Blue City Empire Sports comment? How are you feeling about it? What are your thoughts on Saquon Barkley?
I'll personally like it. But if he's gonna have the Hall of Fame type of career, we're gonna need an offensive line to start though. If we don't get offensive line, Barkley doesn't get far within his career as a running back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. If you're asking me, like genuinely, if you are asking me, I think that Saquon Barkley is he's important. He's important to this team. I think that he's important to this offense. And the team just plays better when he's on the field. Now, I know that you can absolutely make the argument that the team plays better when Devontae Booker is on the field. I mean, they're two different backs. I think that Booker hits the holes a little bit better. But I also look at their styles of playing, right? Because, like I said, they're two different backs. But let's not get it twisted, man. I mean, Saquon is he's still a monster, man. I think that it's just taking him some time to get his legs underneath him. You have this offensive line who's not doing the worst in the league in terms of run blocking and pass blocking. We definitely made some improvements despite how bad we've been playing. However, this offensive line is still bad. It's still not creating holes. I mean, at the same time, even though I feel that we're not creating holes, there's a lot of plays that you can go back to during this season where Saquon misses a hole that he usually wouldn't miss. So there's definitely things that Saquon has to work on. There's definitely things that Saquon needs to do to get back on track. But I think that he's headed in that direction, and I think that he's a focal point to this offense. Now, Blue City Empire Sports also says that John Mara says that he sees Joe Judge as a Bill Parcells, and he wants to see Joe Judge and he said that he sees Joe Judge as a Bill Belichick. Now, Blue City, we actually spoke about that yesterday, and it's I understand. Bill Parcells came out and gave Joe Judge um, a heap of praise before we signed him and said, we gotta stick, you gotta stick with a coach and let him build a foundation and build a culture. But he also did go on the Manning cast this year and give some criticism towards the New York Giants, which I think rightfully so. I think that this team does deserve criticism, especially some of the things that Joe Judge has done. But my thing with Joe Judge, I'm not going to go ahead and crown him as a Parcells or a Belichick, but I don't think that he's incompetent. I don't think that he's that bad of a coach that people make him out to be. Yeah, there's things that he has to work on. I think that we can all agree with that. But I think that we can all agree that Joe Judge is still learning. This isn't a process that's going to be fixed in a year. We have players from other regimes that aren't even Joe Judge's players. We don't even have a competent, offensive coordinator. I know that we all love Freddie Kitchens, or at least some of us do, but I don't think that that's your starting offensive coordinator going into next season. And honestly, man, I agree with you 100%, Taj. I do think that Joe Judge has to stay at least for another year, 2 years tops. But really, for me, I think it's another year. Executing in next year's draft, you have more than enough capital to do so to fix some of the holes that we have on this roster. Get more of your players in and release the players that are stopping your team from progressing. Players like Billy Price, players like Nate Solder, players like Danny Shelton. The list can go on. So we have enough picks to address the positions that we need to address. So that's something that we have to do. Give Judge another year. Now we're going to talk about the NBC Sports article that was talking about Saquon Barkley wanting to be a big reason why the Giants turned things around. Now I'm going to briefly read it over because it is a pretty big article. Actually, it's not too big, but I'm going to briefly summarize it. So they go on to say that among the many disappointments for the Giants this season, one of the biggest has been the play of running back Saquon Barkley, who's missed 4 games with an ankle injury and rushed 100 times for 379 yards when he's been healthy enough. Now, we all know that Barkley missed 14 games last year, right? Due to his ACL tear. In 2019, we all know that he missed 3 games. And, since then, we haven't been good. Actually, they have us listed here at 19 and 42 since us taking Saquon Barkley with the second overall pick. Now, you have the Giants fans that, they give a lot of good reasons as to why we shouldn't have drafted Saquon. If you're asking me would I have drafted a Saquon or quarterback, I definitely would have picked Saquon. I know people wanted Quentin Nelson, but uh, we also know that there was a trade option on the board and Dave Gettleman turned it down. So they could have traded back. They could have gotten themselves a Quentin Nelson, but we picked Saquon. Now, they go on to say in the article that, Saquon states, I plan on being a big reason why we turn things around. That's just my mindset and that's my thought process. When I got drafted here, I said I wanted to be here for the rest of my life. I was born in New York. I'm from Pennsylvania. I live an hour and some change from my parents' house. This is where I started my career. This is where I would love to finish my career. And I know this thing's going to turn around, and I would love to be a part of it and be a part of the reason it does. Now, look, man, if I'm the New York Giants, I mean, I think you have to pick up that 5th year option. I know that a lot of people want to trade him because you would save 7.5 million, and we're going to talk about the cap in a little bit. But if I'm the New York Giants, I just don't think that when Saquon Barkley is healthy, there's a better running back that you're going to pay for $7 million. Now, I got to give Saquon this, right? Some of his injuries, they've been flukes. The ankle injury that he suffered in Dallas, come on. How many times does that happen? It doesn't happen often. It was a freak show accident. You can't control soft tissue injuries as well, but it happened. And honestly, ACL tears, I mean, with the technology and rehab that we have nowadays, I mean, coming back from it, usually it's a year. But in most cases, yeah, you come back in about a year, but you don't feel as your old self until the second year. So I personally have a lot of confidence that if we could address this offensive line, which I do believe that we will do in this upcoming draft, if you give Saquon Barkley an offensive line, this kid going into a year where he's going to need to prove it. Even if he doesn't stay with the New York Giants, he's going to want to prove that he's worthy of that second contract. I think that Saquon Barkley would flourish. I really do. I really do. And yes, again, as I stated, there's things that Barkley has to work on. But I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility that they pick up his 5th year option. I really see it happening. I see it happening more than them bringing back Jabril Peppers. That's just my honest opinion. And when you look at the New York Giants, man, I mean, Saquon is this offense. Things have to run through Saquon Barkley, whether that's in the run game, whether that's him in the passing game. I mean, there's a lot of things that this kid could do. And again, he's still getting his feet underneath him. But we've seen sparks throughout the season where, okay, he's getting his legs back. Okay, he's playing at a higher level. And I think that we're going to see that progression if he could stay healthy continue as we go through the last remainder couple games. But I really do think that when you have a player like Saquon Barkley, he has to be able to contribute, and he has to be able to contribute, excuse me, to the turnaround of the New York Giants. Jaden, let me ask you, man. I mean, do you think that Saquon Barkley has to stay around to be a part of the change going forward with the New York Giants, or do you think that we could trade him and that we'll be okay, and we could pick up another running back in the draft and he could fill that void possibly that Saquon has?
For me personally, I actually want to keep Saquon because he is a big part of this offense. Like we're just the offensive line away from him from having a really a good season. But Barkley is gonna have to stay healthy though. And that's just my opinion. I think
No, no,
Barkley's
yeah,
gonna be
definitely.
part of the big change. And that's if Joe Judge wants to keep him though.
That's facts. No, and you know what? I could absolutely see um, Joe Judge keeping Saquon Barkley just due to the fact that I think that he would want to give him a chance to really prove himself up, not only on this prove it year deal, but uh, really coming off of this injury, man. I mean, because like I said, usually that second year is when you start to feel like your old self. And I think that Saquon Barkley is headed towards that if he could stay healthy. Now, I really do think, and I think this is a great point by G Nation, Lou, that I think that Booker and Saquon Barkley, the more that we see Booker on the field, and especially when we saw him on the field in Saquon's absence, him and Saquon could really be a nasty duo behind a solid offensive line. I mean, I really do think that. I mean, Booker, he's being used well in the screen game. I think that he hits the hole fairly well. I think that he runs with tenacity. He's not obviously as elusive as Saquon, right? But that's what I love about Saquon. Saquon, it's either going to be 3 yards, 4 yards, or potentially a home run hitter, going for 60, 70 yards, and Devontae Booker, he could really hit the holes. He could get you them 1 or 2 yards, on a 3rd and 1 or a 3rd and 2. I mean, Saquon can as well, but if you're asking me, I would want Devontae Booker just because I think that he hits the holes harder. But if you're asking me, I think the smart move would be to, pick up Saquon Barkley's 50-year option, you know, um, see what you have in the kid behind a solid offensive line. If you keep him, then, obviously with the injuries that he's had, you could probably lower his asking price if you were to extend him. But if you were to trade him, or if you were to release him the next year, and him go get another contract with another team, you can at least use the production from Saquon. But it all comes down to how healthy that the kid can stay. But I really do think that, with Saquon Barkley and Devontae Booker, those two could be a very good tandem behind the solid offensive line. And, Saquon, he could really be a factor in this offense. I think he has to be. What's going on, Rodney? What's going on? Salute, my brother. Jaden, I appreciate you being in the stream. Y'all always showing love, so I really appreciate it. But I absolutely
Wait, it
think you're
was
right,
Jada.
man.
Is it me or the other one?
Oh, my fault. I was reading the comment. My bad. My bad. Yeah, there's a Jaden in here. He's not cool. He always be showing love, so I appreciate it. I'm gonna just call you J
Yeah.
Champ, man, just so that you can know which one I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Taj says Judge got a 1-2 punch with Saquon and Booker. Hell yeah, he does.
Yeah,
Hell
because
yeah,
look,
he
for
does,
this
man.
offense, I think I want to be more like the Patriots. Let's just run the ball. Like, we have an offensive line, we could just run the football because teams can't stop it.
Yep.
If it's working, don't get away from it. Because you see how the Patriots can just run the football? Like, they don't got to pass as much, and they still winning games.
Yeah, and you know what, man? I really do think that if and I think that Taj made a great point here with Penny too. Penny, even though he's listed as a fullback, right? I mean, Elijah Penny is a very versatile back, and I really do think that that's what Judge is trying to do. I think that Judge is trying to implement that Patriots scheme. I mean, I believe it was Miz. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this one. That had stated this, that we should have that heavy Patriots run. In terms of rotation and players in rotation. Again, I could be wrong, but at the same time, man, I mean, I think that that's what we need. I really do. I wouldn't mind having a running back by committee. Especially since we don't know how Daniel Jones is going to be next year. We don't know how he's going to be with this, structure. Excuse me, the injury that he suffered to his neck. We have no idea. We don't even know how the severity to that at the moment. But if you're asking me, man, I mean, Saquon and Devontae, 1-2 punch, solid 1-2 punch there. Now we're gonna talk about something that's gonna pain me to talk about, man, and that's gonna be Kevin Zeitler. So Kevin Zeitler, man, I mean, NFL on CBS came out. They wrote a nice article. It was pretty cool on Kevin Zeitler. Kevin Zeitler, he's man, out of 100, man, I can't even read this, man. It's just so upsetting. So he has a 558 pass blocking snaps. He's allowed 0 sacks. He's allowed 0 hits, and no other player in the league with 250 plus pass blocking snaps has allowed 0 in each of those categories. And when you look at that Baltimore offensive line, I'm gonna be honest with you, he's a player that stands out. And it makes me so mad because he's currently making an average of 7.5 million on a 3-year deal with Baltimore. Now it came out that Gettleman didn't even try to extend him or reach out to extend or rework the deal. He just let him walk. And that to me that's a fireable offense in that matter right there. Because Kevin Zeitler on this offensive line, man, I think that we'd be a little bit better than what we are right now, especially if he played at the level that he's playing at right now with Baltimore for the New York Giants. And when you look at the money that Baltimore is paying him, the Giants are currently paying Kyle Rudolph, Devontae Booker, Ofedi Odenigbo, who's not even here, he's in Cleveland on the COVID-19 reserve list. A combined total of $8.25 million in this year alone. That's insane. That's literally insane. One of the players you're not even having on your roster anymore is on another team is making over $1 million guaranteed. You pay Booker, which I have no issues with. I believe $2.5 million, and Kyle Rudolph, who's most likely not even going to be on the team next year. A lengthy amount of money, and he's our number two tight end. And honestly, he's not even really doing much. I know he had a big play against the Chargers, but if I'm a coach, I'm trying to scheme that up for Evan Ingram. That's a touchdown with Evan Ingram. So to me, man, I mean, I really thought that it was insane that we let Kevin Zeitler walk. And look how he's balling out with the Baltimore Ravens. So I just wanted to read that to y'all. Do you have any thoughts, Jaden? My fault, Jade Productions. Do you have any thoughts on the Kevin Zeitler news that came out with Baltimore and how he's been playing?
Yeah, I see, because he got traded from the Browns and he got traded from us, and he went to a really good team.
Yeah, man. He and
Yeah,
Baltimore,
look,
man, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing.
yeah, like when you go to a good team, like you don't gotta do as much.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I mean, but at the same time, I mean, Baltimore's offense has been pretty stagnant this year. But when you look at the offensive line, and I'll be real with you. I mean, their offensive line isn't that good. It really is not that good. But if we're talking about players that are standing out, Kevin Zeitler is definitely the player on that offensive line that's standing out. I mean, come on, 558 passing blocks, zero sacks, zero hits in a division where you got
Yeah.
Miles Garrett, you got T.J. Watt. I mean, that's insane, man. I mean,
Thing
congratulations,
is, wait, I
Kevin
have a question.
Zeitler.
How come Baltimore offensive line ain't that good?
So, like, one thing that I've noticed, right?
Like, I personally think it's good because you wouldn't have the most rushing yards in the league for nothing. Then,
That's absolutely right. And what I mean by it's not doing too well, I'm more talking about, I guess, like their pass blocking, because let's be honest, man. Lamar's getting sacked a lot this year. Now there are instances where he's holding on to the ball a little bit too long, but if you look at besides Kevin Zeitler, their guard position, their right tackle, I mean, they definitely do have some things that they have to address. It's not as bad as what the Giants are dealing with, but compared to the year prior, I mean, it's taken a step back. Now I'm not going to say a couple steps back, but it's taken at least a step back or two. But Kevin Zeitler's been a bright spot for them. I think that they realize that he's been solid. He was a solid run blocker for us as well. So I mean, on a team that's run heavy, I mean they got themselves a good one there. And now that he's doing excellent as a pass blocking guard as well, I mean that's a player that they got on the cheap for 3 years. You can't beat that. But what's up, Deception? How you doing, man? How you living, man? Um, man, it's crazy. Sometimes I wonder why, we can't keep certain players that we should keep. Why we can't develop certain players that we should be developing. Um, it's
yeah,
unfortunate,
the
man.
thing
It's really
is
unfortunate.
with the Kevin Zeitler, I think we traded him because of the cap space he was in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know that he was definitely making. I think it was like he had over it was like over double digits this year that he would have been making. But the Giants, I mean, they could have easily restructured his contract, especially if you weren't going to take an offensive lineman in this draft. Restructure the guy's contract. I mean, the fact that it came out that the Giants didn't even reach out to him to see if that he would restructure his contract is insane. Like that's actually really sad because he might have restructured his contract. He might have been able to take a better deal than what Baltimore was giving him. You never know, and we'll never know now. And that's the unfortunate thing. But honestly, shouts out Kevin Zeitler. We got some things that we got to adjust on this offensive line. A lot of these players on our offensive line are not going to be here next year. So whatever GM comes in, Joe Judge and that GM are going to have their hands full. And I really am sticking with two of the first top three picks have to go to the offensive line. at least 2 of them. But now we had Jaden Alvis, who's actually in the chat. I don't know if he's still in the chat still, uh, but he had asked me what my thoughts were on the cap going forward for the New York Giants. Now, one thing that I pulled up here was that the Giants will have $3.5 million in cap space after, because it was announced, I believe, yesterday that there's going to be an increase in the 2022 cap by 30 million. So with that extension, $30 million extension, and you having $3.5 million in cap space after the matter, that's not good. Now, obviously, we know what the Giants could do. I think that we all have learned, through the years, especially looking at last year, the cap space is a myth. That it doesn't even exist. If you're a competent GM or whoever your team has as handling the cap, because I've learned recently that not a lot of teams as GMs deal with the cap. They have different people on their staff that'll deal with the cap. But I think that if you're competent at what you do, you should be able to move some money around and create cap space. Now, I think that we all know that the best way for us to create cap space is by cutting players. Now, some players that I could easily see gone. Firstly, you could start with Danny Shelton, Billy Price, Matt Skura, Nate Solder. I think that if you look back on the defensive side of the ball, you got James Bradbury, who honestly, that I think that we could pencil in as a cut. And the reason why I say that is his cap hit is $21 million for this season coming up. And I know that you could restructure his contract, but we can't keep kicking the road down on these players because we're already doing that too much. We did that recently with Graham Cano just so that we can create a little bit of cap space because we were running out of money. So for me, I mean, there's a lot of players that you can look at and that you could cut to create more than enough cap space to not only get your draftees, because with you having 2 high first-round picks, you're going to need some money to sign those players. But the Giants could create enough cap space to where if they want to go get a somewhat decent veteran offensive lineman or maybe restructure Blake Martinez's contract with him coming off of the ACL tear, you could create some cap space. I mean, there's a lot of different ways we could create cap space. But I absolutely do think that players like James Bradbury, he's gone, Kyle Rudolph, Nate Solder, Danny Shelton, Reggie Ragland, those players are gone. There's no reason for them to really take up space on this roster and collect money when we need as much money as we can get. But that's just my thoughts on that. You got any thoughts, Jaden, on the cap and what we could do to increase our cap?
I mean, I'm not really worried about the cap space because we could actually get out of it just like last year because we was in danger of the cap, but we found a way to get out of it.
Yeah, no, we
It's
definitely did.
like the players you said, they out. I think Darius Slayton gonna be out. I think Evan Ingram, I think them people's out too. Cause I think we're gonna get rid of Bradbury.
Yeah, Bradbury is gone for sure, man. I mean, Bradbury,
Yeah, cause look, we could keep a Dory Jackson.
yeah.
Cause he's been our best corner. I've been trying to tell people that.
I mean, Dory Jackson, man, I really like Dory Jackson, man. If you ask me, man, I think that with us signing Aaron Robinson, that's going to be the player that steps up and really takes James Bradbury role. I think that Adoree Jackson has came in and he's been worth every penny. I think that he's come in. You don't really hear his name in terms of the interceptions, but he's a lot better than Ryan Lewis. He's a lot better than Julian Love, Sam Beal. I mean, he's really stepped in and done his job, and I got to give credit to what credit's due. A lot of people were worried about his injury history, which I understood. He's been fairly healthy this season. I know that he's dealing with a groin injury, but if I'm the New York Giants, I think the best option is to release Bradbury, take the small dead cap hit compared to what you would be paying him if you kept him, and just put Aaron Robinson as your number 2. Aaron Robinson has stepped up, in the last couple games. He's been fairly solid, especially for a rookie taken in the third round. And I personally wasn't a fan of that pick. I thought that, we should have gotten an offensive guard. I believe Ben Cleveland was still on the board when we traded up. So I thought it made sense, for us to get a guard. We didn't. But with this kid out of UCF, I mean, he's played solid. I mean, he's a hard hitter. He plays with quickness. He's very aggressive. He looks like he's almost technically sound. I mean, there's things that he has to work on, but he's a rookie playing at one of the hardest positions you could play in the NFL. So to me, I'm impressed with what I've seen with Aaron Robinson. I think that if Bradbury goes, which is most likely, hey, Aaron Robinson is there. Is that your day one, starter going forward in the future? I think for a season, and then we could see what we have with him, afterwards. But I really want to see what this kid can do. But I agree with you, Easy Three. Bradbury is gone. I think it's 50-50 with Blake Martinez. I
I
think
will
that
actually keep Blake.
I would keep Blake too. I think that you could restructure his contract, lower his cap hit, and be able to create some cap space on this roster. Right now, I think what we lack is linebacking depth. I don't think that players like Reggie Racklin are going to be here. They don't give any playing time to Carter Coughlin. I think that Tate Crowder has really came in on his own. But if you ask me, I think Tate Crowder is the perfect number two to the Blake Martinez. And then you could go draft another linebacker in this upcoming draft. I think that Tate Crowder has really stepped up and, for a Mr. Irrelevant pick, hasn't been so irrelevant, if you ask me. I think that Blake Martinez, I mean, granted, I'm not expecting him to come back and be lights out. I'm not expecting him to come out and hold it down. We are going to need to address the linebacking position, but I don't think that it would hurt to bring him back, especially if he can restructure his deal. But that's just me, though. Um, I agree with you, Jaden. Having Zeitler leave was the hardest thing for me as well, man. Definitely was probably the most head scratching move this offseason for me. Um, Mark the Blue Giant says, create cap space and get some veterans on a cheap deal. I think that if we create some cap space, I don't think that we would be heavy in the free agent market as we were this last offseason. But I do think that if we create
Well,
some cap space, we will get at least one
oh
decent
yeah,
veteran.
and Mark the Blue Giant. Listen, I get it. We want veterans, but I'm not a fan of that anymore because anytime we do that, it never works in our favor.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. I think the smart thing, if I'm the New York Giants, is picking if whatever cap space you can create. Put your money aside for the draft and for your contracts, whatever you have. Try to go get you somewhat of a decent veteran offensive lineman, just so that you can have depth. And I'm not talking about just fill-in pieces. Like Billy Price, Matt Skura, Ben Bredesen. I'm not talking about that. I know that some people have tried mentioning Andrew Norwell out of Jacksonville. I know that that's who some Giants fans wanted when Dave Gettleman was the New York Giants GM in his first year, and he ended up going to Jacksonville. Now he hasn't lived up to the contract that Jacksonville gave him. I believe it was a 5-year, $60 or $62 million deal. He hasn't lived up to it, similar to Nate Solder. So is it possible that you could get him on a cheaper contract? Yeah, I think it's very possible. That's just one option. But at the same time, I'm not expecting, a big splash player in free agency. I think that would be very unrealistic. But I think that we should go out there, at least get us a veteran offensive lineman to some degree, create some more cap space just in case for emergencies. But that's just mainly me, though. Blue City Empire Sports says Las Vegas will host the 2024 Super Bowl at a. I could never pronounce this. Alliant Stadium. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I've never been to Vegas. It's on my bucket list, but I've heard that that stadium is really nice, man. So I think that that would be a great place to hold the Super Bowl, especially in Las Vegas, let alone. So definitely would be exciting. I do see my thing with Logan Ryan, right? Blue City Empire Sports is as much as I love Logan Ryan, and he hasn't been playing bad. Um, I really see the New York Giants moving on from him. Maybe not next year, but the year after. I think that we should really keep players like Julian Love, especially if we let Jabril Peppers go, which is looking more than likely that we will. But Julian Love, he's stepped up. He's really been that key contributor on defense. And he always seems to be either near or where the ball is at. So I personally would keep Logan Ryan. I think that, he is the leader on this defense, but I wouldn't be shocked that if we let him go. What's going on, Jeff? It's been a long time since we've had you on stream, man. Hope everything is well, man. I know you was taking care of some matters with your family. I hope everything's all good, man. Happy holidays. We are a mess, man, to say the least. We are, man. I've heard that it's a nice city, Jeff. Vegas. I haven't been there at all, but it's definitely on my list because there's just so much that you can do out there, and it's such a beautiful city from what I've seen. So I would love to definitely go out there and even try to catch a game because that stadium looks insane. So. Um, Now, Jeff says Logan Ryan's signing was long term, was a major mistake, and signing Rudolph instead of keeping Zeitler was a mistake too, but it's the past now. Nah, I agree with you, man. I mean, I think that most of us could agree that the Kyle Rudolph signing was a mistake, considering the fact that one, he was up there in age, two, we already had Caden Smith, who hasn't really seen the field, whether that's due to injury or if Judge has a vendetta about him or towards him, whichever. He hasn't really seen the field. So for me, it didn't make sense bringing Kyle Rudolph in. I understood from a red zone perspective, but I thought the money that we gave him, we should have allocated that towards Kevin Zeitler, and try to at least work with the guy, right? And then you could address the tight end position in the draft. You could always find a tight end in later rounds. But you're right; it's absolutely in the past now. There's something that we can do, but I do think that Logan Ryan, maybe after next year is gone, and I absolutely do think that Kyle Rudolph is gone going into next year. Um, he hasn't really been a key factor to this offense. Again, I know that he had a big play last week. He's caught a touchdown from Daniel Jones, but I mean, dude is up there in age. I think that foot injury is really affecting him, and he's not fully himself. But I really do think that it would make a lot of sense for the New York Giants to come. Not a problem, Jeff. Family comes first. Take care of what you have to take care of. Big Blue Crew will always hold it down. And I know you'll be in the streams listening anyways. So as long as you're good, man, everything's good. Yeah, no, and I've seen people make this point, and I think that that's a very fair point. Easy three, Joe Judge, that could be a factor for him as well. I mean, I thought that we were a lot better than what we are right now currently as a team last year than where we are this year, and absolutely the crowd could make a difference.
Yeah,
The
but
crowds were
yeah,
quiet
I
last
know,
year.
but I don't want to use the crowd. I'm not using no excuses for the crowd.
No, yeah, absolutely. That's why I said I think it's a fair point. I think it's a good point. Do I think it's the main reason? No, but I do think that that's something that could play into it. And I think that we could see at least call wise and in terms of like throwing challenge flags in terms of calling timeouts. The crowd could affect that as well, especially like when it's really loud and you're trying to get a ref's attention or just trying to concentrate and communicate with your players. I think that you go into the stadiums like Arrowhead or you go into stadiums like the Link, that definitely plays a factor. But I agree with you, Jaden. I'm not gonna really give him a pass for that just because of the crowd. But I do think that it's a reason for some things for the New York Giants. Um, Jeff says, I remember when John Mara said that the offense was broken years ago. Well, I guess it's disintegrated now. Took the words right out of my mouth, Jeff. I mean, if it was broken years ago, man, I mean, it's rusted up, broken, brittle. Um, if you were to smack it with your fingers, it would probably disintegrate into dust. So I I agree with you, man. Yeah, man. I mean, your support, man. We all know what you be on, man. I mean, you play a key factor in the Giants community, man. So I always, oh man, I almost choked. I always appreciate the support that you do show, not just to me, but to other content creators. It really does mean a lot, man. Thank you for real. Now, yeah, I definitely do think that this game coming up in MetLife It's going to be heavy, heavy, heavy Cowboys fans in this game.
I
It will
mean,
absolutely be heavy for Cowboys
are we
fans in this
really
game.
surprised though?
No, I'm not surprised at all. Look, I
Yeah, I
will
mean,
never.
look,
What's
going to the game, you already know a lot of Dallas fans gonna show up anyway.
Mhm.
I already know how the crowd's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real, man. In New York alone, there's a lot of Cowboys fans. I mean, you obviously have your Jets fans, you have your Giants fans, but there are a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans in New York. And it always seems that every year when we play the Cowboys in MetLife, there's a lot of Cowboys fans. Um, and that's just how it is, man. I mean, when you put a product that you put on the field, from the New York Giants, you can't expect fans to be in the stands. You can't blame these fans for selling their season tickets or just selling their tickets or not wanting to go to these games because they don't want to waste their Sundays being upset at the team that they spend their hard-earned money for. Um, I will never tell a fan how to root for their team. I won't. But I'm not surprised at all that the crowd is mostly going to be Dallas this Sunday. Dallas is on a very good streak right now. They're ahead in this division. They're a threat in the NFC. So I absolutely am expecting, a lot of Cowboys fans this upcoming Sunday on MetLife. I appreciate you, Jeff. Have a good one, man, and happy holidays to you too, man. And I agree, Easy Three. I think that if I'm the New York Giants, my first three picks, one of them has to go to an edge rusher, other two has to go to the offensive line. If I had it my way in a perfect world, I'm taking one of the top three edge rushers, preferably Thibodeau or Hutchinson, and then trying to get Neal or Linderbaum with my second pick. But if Neal or Linderbaum, or even if, because we were talking about it yesterday on not just my stream, um, but on Joel's stream as well. Um, if you have the opportunity to pick up, let's say, if Hutchinson or Thibodeau isn't there, if you have the opportunity with the higher first round pick to pick up, an Evan Neal, you do that, and then with that second pick, if you trade that back with a team like Denver, if you trade that back, to any team, really. I mean, you could collect draft capital, which is what we need, especially if Joe Judge isn't going to be here next year. You collect draft capital, and then you could select another player still in the first round, obviously, at that pick. But for me, two of the first top three picks have to go to the offensive line. No excuses, no excuses, no excuses. Has to, has to, has to. Because you didn't address the offensive line in this last draft. It bit you in the ass. We're seeing it bite our ass every single game this season, man. The only bright spot that we have to this offensive line is Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas is the only person on this offensive line that can hold his own and be a staple to this team. Every other player on this offensive line, I personally don't want on this roster anymore. I want to see Matt Peart get on the field. It's looking like they don't even want him on the field because they feel that he's not a tough player. Isaiah Wilson, I think Isaiah Wilson is a player that we'll see next year. I think that he'd do very good at the guard position. He was a first round pick for a reason, despite what you say. He was a first round pick for a reason. Obviously, he has to get back into shape. He has to learn the system, and we'll see what we have there. But even with that, you still address the offensive line. And I'm just saying the first three picks, two of them got to be the offensive line. You still got to address the offensive line in later picks as well. But a late round quarterback, I don't think would be a bad option. I would want a late round running back personally as well. I think that if we could get a tight end like Hassan Haskins, I think that he would be solid as well. Because I don't think that Evan Ingram's going to be on this team next year, so you're going to need a tight end, for Daniel Jones or whatever quarterback is playing behind this offensive line. Now, Blue City Empire Sports says, in my opinion, I really did not want to draft wide receiver Devontae Smith. I wanted to draft linebacker Micah Parsons, wide receiver Jalen Waddle, and wide receiver Kadarius Toney, and draft an offensive line. I was so happy that we drafted Kadarius Toney. Nah, man, I agree with you. See, I personally, if you go back in my videos, I either wanted Devontae Smith or I wanted Micah Parsons. Devontae Smith, if he was there, I would have taken him because for some reason, I'll be very honest with you, I thought that Micah Parsons was going to go to the Denver Broncos. I thought that, Von Miller's getting up there in age. Bradley Chubb deals with a lot of injuries. They could have used a player like Micah Parsons. But, I thought that if Devontae Smith was there, you take him. And if he's not there, you take Micah Parsons. But I also had a mock draft where we took Jalen Waddle as well. That's on my YouTube page. But Kadarius Toney, man, I think that we could say that his first season was a failure. Not so much that he could really do. Obviously, he's caught COVID twice. We haven't used him correctly. Obviously, he's also been injured as well. And I don't think that that speaks to the kind of player that he is. I think that we had to let it roll, see what we have for him, throughout his rookie, contract that he has with us. And we collected a first round pick, so I'm not too upset with it. I think that we know the kind of player that he can be, and that's an elusive home running hit man. I can't even talk, man. I can't talk today, man. But nah, dude's a beast, man. And we got a first round pick, so I ain't complaining. And we got Logan on the stream. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Home run hitter.
Man, I can't talk today. I've been talking so much like for the last hour. So like I've been stuttering my mouth. So I appreciate you, man.
I understand
Um,
you, man. I was up
shit, man.
till 4 in the morning last night listening to music with Joel. Never ask what kind of music Joel likes, because he will disturb the shit out of you, bro.
Really? What kind of music you listen to? I'm actually
Fucking
kind of
death
curious.
metal. Fucking death metal.
I'm gonna be real. I could see that. I could absolutely see that. I could see him listening to death metal. I could see him listening to punk, or I could see him listening to like stone rock, classic rock. He definitely gives me those vibes. I would smoke the fattest blunt with Joel. I'm gonna just keep it real.
Then I
What's
turned
going
on
on, man?
I
What?
turned on I turned on DMX, and I'm like, and he's like, I can't even understand this. I'm like, how do you understand that? But you can't
Ah,
understand.
Oh, now y'all want to show up? Oh, y'all late. What's wrong with y'all?
and man, I mean, I know that when I be doing these streams in the afternoon, not a lot of people are gonna be able to jump through. I know some people have school, some people got
I
work.
had school.
Yeah,
So I
I
get it.
actually, yeah, his squad. I like being on the streams because I can actually talk as much. Because on other streams, I don't get to fucking
Nah,
talk.
yeah. I mean, I feel you. I mean, I don't. I'll talk in other people's streams. Sometimes I'll just kind of like mute myself and let other people talk. Uh, it just really depends for me. But nah, man, I try to make sure that everyone can talk. I try to get as many people as we can on here, and it's always fun having y'all on. So I appreciate it. Um, if y'all weren't able to hear earlier, we went over some topics, some articles from the New York Giants. We went over the COVID-19 list so far that was updated today, but I'm expecting more players to be added as we go into tomorrow. Hopefully not, but I'm expecting it. We spoke about the article CBS, NBC Sports release about them interviewing Saquon and him coming out and saying that he wants to be one of the big reasons why we turn things around here and that he really wants to stay. We went over that, and then we went over the Zeitler situation with him being the highest rated guard uh, so far with over 258 pass blocks. I mean, dude's a monster, man. But I want to ask y'all real quick, man. I mean, I know that we've been kind of asking the same questions, in different streams, the last couple of days, because right now in a season with nothing to really root for, we're just kind of looking towards the future, man. Um, Logan, was it you that said that you're working on a mock draft?
Yes.
Okay, man. I can't wait to see that, man. I wanted to ask y'all real quick. I mean, in terms of importance, from like let's say 1 to 5, what is your draft needs from 1 to 5? You got your general manager hat on. What are the positions you're attacking first, from most important to least important? Uh,
Well,
whoever wants to go first.
yeah. Number one, I'm attacking. It's either guard, tackle, or center on the O line. So let's just say center on the O line, and then my number two is right tackle. Number three is probably middle linebacker. Number four is edge rusher, and number five, let's say safety.
All
Okay.
right. Me, I'll say tackle, center, guard, and then that's my 1, 2, 3, and then 4. I'll say edge, and then 5 will be linebacker. Another linebacker, 'cause we need a linebacker.
Oh yeah, definitely. And look, if we're gonna do it in order, I want two offensive line, edge, linebacker, running back, tight end.
Okay, I like that. I like that. I like where y'all's mind is at because I
And
think
I
that
would
we're all
like
pretty
the
similar.
Giants also. I like them to sign a free agent guard just to give us a year of guard, and then we hopefully draft Linderbaum and Neal, and then we're pretty much
Yeah,
good.
I
That
want
is the
Evan
best
Neal on
strategy.
this team. Him being at right tackle, low key could certify this offensive line.
Yeah, man. For me personally, yeah, because we had mentioned it earlier. If I'm creating cap space, man, one thing that I do want to do is at least address the line to some degree. Maybe bring in a offensive lineman. I'm not talking about a blockbuster signing. I don't think that we'll have the money for that. But if we could bring in at least a competent, guard or maybe a center, maybe not a plug-in piece like Billy Price or Matt Scarra. I'm done with those kind of
Hey
players.
yo, what's good, y'all?
What's
What's
going
good?
on, Taj? What's up, my man? I appreciate you sliding through for real. Um,
Yes, sir.
but in terms of importance, and Taj, I'm gonna ask you the same question because Jay, Logan, and Nate answered it already. I'm gonna give my answers now. So the question is, in terms of level of importance for the position, what positions are you going to draft in order from 1 to 5? So for me, it's got to be tackle, edge, guard. Um, I would go guard again, but I'm gonna just say guard. So I got 3 right there. I would draft a running back and a tight end.
Yeah. Or we could do right tackle first. I would love to draft a center in a draft. We need a center.
Yeah, man, we do. And it's like I know a lot of Giants fans are really excited to potentially have Nick Gates back. Hopefully, he could come back. Prayers up to Nick Gates, who's had countless surgeries since that brutal injury against Washington. Um, but we don't know if he's going to come back, let alone if he's going to be able to even play football again. So I would love to address the center position, whether that's in the draft, in free agency, both. I agree with you, Nate. I think that we should go get an offensive guard
Mhm.
in free agency. I mean, we listed some ways earlier on how we could create cap space. Cutting players like Bradbury, maybe either cutting or restructuring Martinez's contract, cutting Kyle Rudolph. There's a lot of different ways that we could create cap space, and we're going to need to, especially with us having 2 high first round picks. Um, but I agree with you, Nate. I just wanted to put that out there. But
Yeah,
Taj, let me get your thoughts real quick. Oh, yeah, Nate, what were you saying?
I was just gonna say the guy that I actually want. If you guys don't, I watch a lot of Tennessee Titans football. I just like to watch AJ Brown, those boys. So I've been looking at the center. His name is Ben Jones from Tennessee. He's their center. He's only allowed 1 sack this whole season
Wow.
and has played 886 snaps this season. So he's
Jesus.
reliable if we need him.
I mean, he is a center.
Yes. I would
You
like
know,
somebody. No, this is what I would do though. We hope that Gates comes back. I'm hoping this will happen.
he's
We
not.
sign
Hey yo,
center.
I wanted to keep the Gates as center, but y'all saying no, move him. Okay. Hey, y'all got what y'all wanted.
Yeah. No,
Put Nick Gates back as center.
now let me ask you, man. So in terms of importance, right? So from like 1 being the most important, 5 being the least important, but it's still important because it's in your top 5. What are the positions that you're going to address going into the 2022 draft?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, you, Taj.
Oh, okay. Of course, I would draft a tackle first. Then I would trade down to probably get either Linderbaum or the edge rusher from Purdue. If if I wanted to get him, then yeah, either one of those two guys we can get. Then in the second round, we could get an edge rusher or a tackle or a guard in the second round, and then in the and then we can get a running back in like the fourth round, and probably like I'm getting tight end in like the fourth or the fifth round.
That wouldn't be bad either. I really don't think that would be bad. I could absolutely see us taking a running back in this draft. And if not in the fifth round, I could see it in the fourth round. Um, if you were to ask me how I genuinely think the draft will play out, I think the first pick will be it really just depends on who's there. Um, that's why I haven't really put out a mock yet because I don't know where we're going to be at. And I feel like depending on what we're going to be at may depend what players will be there. But I think that it's going to be offensive tackle, edge, then the guard position. But if they don't do the guard position in the second round, um, I really think that they're going to go pick themselves up a linebacker. This is a good class for some linebackers, man. I mean, I've been doing my research a little bit, but there's some good linebackers in this draft class, man. And we really need some, man, because I think we can all agree on this panel. Reggie Ragland's slow ass ain't it. Um, they're not letting Carter Coughlin play for some reason. We need as much help, especially with Martinez coming off of that ACL. He's not going to be 100% until his second year, wherever he's at, off that injury. So I really do think that we got to address that linebacker position. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do in the second round. But let me see real quick. Mark the Blue Giant says he'd go offensive tackle, offensive guard, edge, linebacker, tight end. I don't think that would be a bad option either. I personally, man, I would not be mad. I don't know about y'all. Y'all could give your thoughts.
I'm good. Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad if we took two offensive tackles in the first round.
Yeah, I'm good. And whoever,
Yeah.
But I would do this though. If we do that route, one of those have to play guard.
Yeah.
Because we know Thomas is the left. We already, and then we'll put whoever the right tackle is that we think is the most better in the freaking whoever we think is the better player, but put him at definitely tackle because that's the blind side. And then whoever we think will fit the guard position a little bit more too. Because if it goes down to a Kanu, who's more, in my opinion, is more a guard than a tackle. But if we do like a Kanu and Neal, that's a steal. Like that's just robbery to get those two guys.
Yeah, Nate, don't forget we got Isaiah Wilson, who we're gonna play in the offseason too. He could possibly start at right guard.
We can't trust these guys, man. We can't trust these guys to hopefully.
I mean, we don't know if Isaiah Wilson though.
Isaiah Wilson, we don't know who the hell he is. The last time I seen the man play football, he got cooked.
I mean, and that's the thing too. I mean, that's why I feel like he may be better suited at the guard position.
Yeah.
I've seen Titans fans say that he wasn't bad on the outside, but he's a little slow. So do you think maybe the Giants see that and they're just trying to prep him, for the guard position?
Yeah, I think they're prepping him.
I don't know.
But I just don't trust this. Like, we need to get someone that we know every time we'll go out there. Just give us whatever he needs. Like Nick Gates. And these guys in this year's job are feisty guys. Like they get into fights. These guys.
He said feisty.
Feisty.
Do you want Logan? Do you want that in a football player?
Yes, but feisty is a weird word.
Listen, look,
Nate, we've been using the last couple of years. I want to change things up.
Nate.
Yes.
Here's what me and his want. Don't get any more veteran players if we're gonna continue to lose.
Wow. You just like every old man in the stream.
You're saying if Morgan Moses is available, you're not going to sign him to play right tackle?
And I'm only looking at one veteran is Hassan Reddick.
Hassan Reddick. Bro,
that's an edge.
I think if we were to address anything in free agency with whatever cap space we have, I think it's going to go to the offensive line.
Mhm.
I don't be shocked if they pick up some random defensive tackle, but I could
I
absolutely.
actually wouldn't be mad
I mean,
because
I
we,
think
we
that
need a D tackle like who's as close as the Dalvin Thompson.
yeah, exactly, because I think that Dalvin's presence is highly missed this season, man, because we are getting ran up on, man. I mean, it's ridiculous. We are getting ran up on. Which last year teams were kind of struggling to run the ball on us. Now it's no issue. I
Yeah,
mean, it's no issue at all. We gave up over 150 yards on the ground to the Chargers. Like that's insane. And over 200, I believe, to the Eagles. Like you can't win many games like that. Better teams, man, they'll take advantage of that. So I mean, there's a lot of things that us as a team we got to address, and I think that we will. I really do think that we will. But until we address them, man, I mean, this team's going to be stuck in this hole. And I agree. I think that we gotta let Judge see it out, let him get his players in, and really just try to execute this draft, man. I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't execute this draft. We're in a position to where we're going to be having some high picks, so the talent is going to be there. So I'm expecting this team to execute at least somewhat, at least over half of their draft picks.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I'll be
It's hard
so
to say.
confused of his squad and Taj world because they sound just alike. I
You
can't be
think
telling.
you think me and Todd sound alike?
Damn.
It's like y'all got the same voice with two different accounts. That's crazy.
Thanks, Jaden. I appreciate it. I don't think we sound alike, but or maybe we do. You never really know how you sound until you hear your voice back.
No, you guys sound nothing alike. Jane's just high again.
Hey,
Oh, shut up. I will send a photo to everybody.
You just sent a
That's
video,
in
not a
the group
photo.
chat. Logan, don't make me send a photo again.
Chill,
man,
Dwayne Haskins look alike.
Yo, stop calling me Dwayne Haskins.
my God. And so, like I said, I feel like if we do address anything in free agency, it's the offensive line, and it'll probably be a guard that, or I could see a tackle too, maybe a guard and a tackle. Um, but I just don't expect them to be big name players.
Mm.
Because man, we need as much help as we can, man.
Thing is, wait, how many picks can we get in total? Like 10?
Um, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have. Yeah, I think we have 10 right now.
Like, that was the most we could have in a draft.
How many you want? You just have to sign the players. You just have to clear cap the sign.
Yeah, because I think we're gonna get some commissary picks. I will hope.
Yeah, but you could if you don't like the player, they'll probably just cut him if they don't want the player.
So guys, I have
So
a question. I have a question for you, Hit
what's up?
Squad. Should I for my mock draft? How many rounds do you think I should do? Should I do every round or should I just do like the first three?
Um,
I would do
I would
every
do
round.
all.
I'll do every round. It's
Every
much better
round.
when you do every round.
Do every round, and then then maybe have another draft where you look at it from a different perspective. Just keep making different mocks, and then you could always do a video where you focus primarily on the first three picks, and you could give like an in-depth reason. But
Yeah.
I think the 7 rounds, man. I think that'd be perfect because we have a lot of picks.
Well, we have
And,
10.
yeah, so that's a lot of players that you can cover. So I think go with all of them. But to answer the question earlier, so it doesn't say what's the highest, but it said that the highest so far in history has in a 7 round format was by the Miami Dolphins in 1997. They used a total of 14 picks.
Damn. Oh my.
The second highest was in 2002 two teams had 13 picks, and that was the oh, excuse me, no, my fault. Since then, two teams, the closest were 13 picks, the 2010 Eagles and the 2004 Titans. So I mean, yeah, man. I mean, we got to execute the draft. Um, Absolutely expect if we do trade back, man, we're gonna have a lot of picks. And I think that even if we do have a lot of picks going into this draft, they're gonna trade up for some players, kind of like what they did for Aaron Robinson. They may
Mhm.
trade back twice. I could see that absolutely happening.
Yeah, because with the first two picks, let's draft Tosh World and his squad productions. In the second round, let's draft Floken.
Wow.
The
What position am I?
at the third, we could draft Nate, trade down another pick, and get me.
What position am I playing?
I was gonna say we could pick up
It just
Jaden in the supplemental draft, but yeah, I guess that works.
be the tackle, but for
Damn.
defense though.
Hey man, I'll tell you what, I'll be the running back, and I promise I'll get us at least 100 scrimmage yards a game.
Jaden, what do you think I will play? Put
You play
me on
corner.
that.
You're a corner.
I'm a receiver, bro. Don't sleep on my
You
receiver.
can't.
I'm not
You're a corner.
Nate.
Bro, I can't
Nate,
catch.
Nate. I
Yeah.
was gonna push our receiver, but I'm gonna move you to safety now.
Oh, bad. All right, I got you.
Yeah, you got little Julian Love right there.
Also,
I'm
if a
an edge
Taj,
rusher, bro. I'm an
if
edge
a
rusher.
Taj World, I don't know his position, but I'm gonna guess tight end.
I promise you, I can get at least one tackle a game as an edge rusher, bro.
If you
Yeah,
go
because
against
we're gonna be
Minnesota,
replacing Danny Shelton.
yeah, man. I mean, look, I could see. I'm telling you this right here, right? So this is how it is. Logan, that's the TJ Watt. That's him right there. You got Nate, that's Julian Love. Taj kind of look like Martellus Bennett, but you know what? We're not gonna give him that. And Jaden, hey man, you just might have to be the fullback or something. I don't know.
No, he's 6'3". Put him at receiver.
Yeah, you gotta put my
Oh,
receiver.
nah, yeah, boy, if you 6'3", your ass need to be on the court with LeBron. What is you doing in this chat? LeBron needs you right now, dog. What you doing? But hold on, let me get to this comment. So Rodney says we should really be putting any money from the cap towards draft picks. You always overpay at free agency, unless the Giants could get a good veteran O lineman or a veteran QB. In my honest opinion, I wouldn't look to free agency for anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Nah, I agree with you there, man. Most of the money has to go to the draft, especially because we have two high draft picks. You got to create cap space to put that under the cap. But I think that any whatever money we have left over once we're done with the draft money and signing our current players, I think that that money should go to veteran offensive linemen. I just wouldn't be shocked if they picked up, let's say it was a guard, maybe like a lower end tackle for like $1 million, and then they pick up some random defensive tackle. Or
Imagine getting paid millions of dollars just to sit on a bench.
sounds like the dream to me. I don't know about you. Oh no, shit, I would have done.
Ooh, I know we can get Jacoby Brissett in free agency. I'm down for that.
If we get
I don't think
Jacoby
that would be
Brissett in
bad.
free agency, he's winning.
That was the quarterback I originally wanted as a backup.
I'm down.
I don't think
Shit,
that would
Mike
be a
White.
bad option
Fuck
at all.
it.
It really wouldn't. Like, think about it. Players
And
like Jacoby
they said he's
Brissett,
only getting paid right now $5. Oh, bet we're getting him for $5 million. What are you talking about? That's easy. That's not even hard.
yeah, you could get Tyrod Taylor for around that much.
Yeah,
Tyrod Taylor's too injury prone though, man.
he's a
He
backup.
is, but I'm looking at him as that bridge guy. Whether that's potentially to light a fire under Daniel Jones's ass, or if Daniel Jones doesn't work out or he gets injured, I wouldn't mind putting Tyrod in, or even Mariota, because you don't got to change the scheme too much. And with that, if it doesn't work out with Daniel Jones, that's a nice bridge quarterback right there.
Yeah.
Until you are able to draft your franchise quarterback. But I hope that DJ works out, man, because I'm not trying to be in this rebuild process.
I got the confidence he'll work out.
I do too, but I mean, I got to see it first. But I really do think that it's possible. I think the tangibles are there. I also don't think that we've done him any favors, if we're being real. I mean, there's things he has to work on, obviously, but You don't provide him with an offensive lineman. The first year you bring him in, you trade the best receiver we have and bring in a washed Golden Tate for a lot of money.
Yo,
And you still don't address the offensive line until his second year. And I mean, even with that, like you should have been doing that. So I mean, I really want to believe in Daniel Jones, but I'm not gonna get upset at anybody that's off the Daniel Jones train either, because I mean, I'm not expecting him to ever be an elite quarterback. And I would love a player like Herbert or Burrow or even like a Josh Allen. But nah, man. I mean, DJ, man, you give him an O line, you get him some weapons, you get a competent offensive coordinator, and not some just random bum that's conservative as hell. Man, let that kid throw. Get him an offensive lineman, build his confidence back. You got some stuff going on with that. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a very important year next year, not just for DJ and Daniel Jones, but the foundation of this team, man. I mean, I think that you got a couple pieces that you can build the foundation on. Players
Yep.
like Xavier McKinney. Um, you could throw Martinez in that role if he ends up staying. Andrew Thomas. Um, I mean, there's players that you can build around and add to. And you tell me, man, next year, first game, I wouldn't be surprised, but if it's versus Dallas or whoever, dog, you telling me on our offensive line we got Thomas, Evan Neal, or Linderbaum, or potentially both, man, I'm telling you, there ain't no way in hell that this kid fails behind that
And
offensive
also,
line.
and don't forget Gates because he's coming back next year.
I wanna bank on Gates, I really do, but I don't know how he's gonna
But
come
I
off
just
that.
don't know.
Like, and he's had a lot of surgeries. I mean, he's
7.
walking now. Yeah, he's walking now, which is great. I'm really happy to hear that. But I would be lying if I said that I have confidence that he's going to come back next year. It may take him a year just to fully rehab, and then for him to come back. So I expect if one position that I think that the Giants address that we should expect is going to be the offensive guard position. It's got to be because
Hmm.
you got Wilson, you got Parrott. I mean, those are two players they're both versatile in the sense that they can play guard, but they can play tackle if they have to. Um, so you got two players right there. Go get you a veteran offensive lineman, and then you got more than enough picks to address the positions in the draft. So
Yeah. All we
Giants
really
have
need is Andrew Thomas, Evan Neal, or Linderbaum. If we get them three offensive line could change this whole offense.
facts, man. Yeah, facts. I mean, you're not
Because
saying nothing wrong.
you see how the Colts drafted Quentin Nelson and the whole offensive line changed.
Yep.
Hey, do you guys see the Titans? I mean, not the Titans. The Texans drafting a quarterback because I'm doing my draft right now. I'm not going to include every pick. I'm just going to be including the Giants picks. But I'm trying to do every pick in my mock draft so that I can see where the Giants can potentially get.
I would not be shocked if the Texans do take a quarterback. And I'll tell you why. I don't believe in Davis Mills. I think that he has some moments where he shows some promise, but I think that if they lose out the remainder of their games, absolutely. Because one of these quarterbacks are going to be hyped up. I think it's mainly going to be Kenny Pickett. You have his name isn't coming to me, but dude from Pitt. Um,
Kenny Pickett is
Yeah,
Pitt.
Kenny Pickett.
Oh, yeah, Kenny Pickett is Pitt. Yeah, my fault. You have Malik Willis as well. So one of those
Matt
quarterbacks are
Corral.
going to go. There's teams that, they're going this year without having a solid quarterback, but come next year, they're going to need one. Not every team is going to be able to trade for a Russell Wilson or an Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, I think it's very possible that a team like the Texans, takes a quarterback with that first pick. Because it's like, yeah, they need defense, but they also need offensive line. I mean, they have a lot of positions just like us that they need to address in their own respect. So, but I don't think that would be. I don't think that you would be crazy if if you had the Texans picking a quarterback at all. I think that's not out of the realm of possibility. I think that's actually very likely. Um, even if not a lot of people agree. I think that's very likely. But let's see, where are we at right now? Okay, so I had said earlier the longest I wanted to do it was for an hour because actually I had something I got to do at 3. So we're gonna end it here, y'all. I know that we got streams later, so I'm gonna be on there for sure.
Big
I
Pat.
appreciate everyone that came through. Logan, Jay, Supertaj, Nate, um, Rodney in the chat, Mark the Blue Giant, Joseph. We saw Deception and Jeff, Easy 3. I mean, hey man, I appreciate y'all
Oh,
showing
Miz,
through.
what up?
Man, hey Miz,
Yo, what's good, Miz? Yo, do you think we should let Miz on for like a few minutes?
Nah.
Oh, he just said see you tonight.
You see it tonight. Yeah, I'm Big
All
Pat
right.
stream.
So yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm going.
Oh yeah,
right.
oh yeah.
yeah.
And let's sign Miz as linebacker.
Man, Miz got to be the safety. Now put him at middle linebacker. I could see him. I could see him really commanding that defense like Martinez.
Yeah.
He could be a better Micah Parsons. But it's all good, Miz. Don't worry about it. Like I said, everyone gonna be streaming tonight. So we already know we're gonna pull up to the streams and show support. So
Yeah, because everybody's streaming tonight.
no, I'm saying
Except
like
me though.
yeah. I
Because
mean I know
I will
Logan,
be
you're
the
gonna
only one
stream,
that's
right?
not streaming.
No, you good, man. I mean I know Logan, you're gonna stream, right?
Yeah, I have my podcast at 7:30.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean,
because I'm gonna try to join all y'all streams.
yes, sir. No worries, man. If y'all want to put your plugins, absolutely, by all means, do y'all thing. If y'all want to do it, do your thing. But oh shit, damn, Taj be leaving quick as hell. But yeah, JD, you can go first.
Yeah, so to my channel. It's called J Productions.
Damn. What a nice advertisement there.
Yeah, I think I think you got the link to my channel already.
Yeah, I put everybody's link in the stream.
Oh yeah, it was good, Coach Dante.
I can't
Good,
believe
man.
it's happening.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, his squad.
yes,
I
sir.
told Coach Dante he's our new coach for the
Yeah,
Giants.
he's coaching us. Yeah,
Man, we
I
would.
believe Coach Dante's
We'd
skill.
we'd be like 13-3, 14-3 at this point.
Oh yeah,
Bro,
and also
Joel's
his squad.
the freaking assistant coach. We're winning a Super Bowl. What are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Yeah, also we got Slade to be the Giants fan.
No,
I'm
Slade's
telling
just
you,
he's the
he's
only
gonna-
Giants cheerleader. He's the
Man.
first ever cheerleader in Giants history.
he's gonna become a fan, man. I'm telling you.
If we had a female cheerleader, Bigfoot Slade would be down to their knees, bro. He's so short.
Jesus Christ.
Okay,
got
now,
knees, though?
all right, now that's demonetization. Now you're
You're good.
And you
I mean,
just
I'm not
dissing
even
him at this
monetized.
point.
Yeah, you're good, man. But yes, sir. We gonna end it here. Y'all boys be safe. I appreciate y'all coming through, man. I'll see you guys later, though.
all right.
All right, bro. Thank you.
Peace.